Saturday was a time when Dad and I would go into the office. When I was 12 or 13 years old, he'd say, hey, I'm going to the office. You want to go, son? Yeah, I'd love to. Be out of the house. Sometimes we'd go by and get something to eat, and we'd just kind of pal around for a little bit. And then we'd go to this 12-story building called the Southern Trust Building downtown, and my dad's office was on the 10th floor. Yes, the 10th floor, a commanding view of downtown Macon. My nose would be pressed to a window trying to see what had changed, looking at all the people down on the ground that looked like ants, and it was just a fun experience. And one day, I saw on the posting of all the businesses, WMAZ. That's right, WMAZ radio was in the Southern Trust Building. One morning, I said, Dad, would you mind if I go down to the 5th floor and ask the people at WMAZ if I can look around? He said, no, go ahead. Give it a try. So here I am. I'm at the front door of WMAZ. Now, I come up the elevator, and I see these two doors over to my right, two glass doors, and then the rest sort of looks like a typical office building. I can't remember if there was a desk out front or not, but I was immediately drawn to the window because that's where the lights were on. And I walked over, there was a buzzer, rang the buzzer, waited, and eventually this guy came to the door, and the guy that opened the door was named Gary Gunter, and he was a teenager that was working weekends at WMAZ. He said, may I help you? I said, yeah, I'm Bill. My dad has an office on the 10th floor, and I'm kind of interested in radio. Can I look around? Now, at this point, this conversation can go either way. It's either going to go, one, get out of here, kid. I got a job to do. I don't have time to be fooling with you. Or two, yeah, come on in. Gary says, yeah, sure, come on in. I couldn't believe it. So I go, it's this little ramp that you would go up as you first went in the door, and then you saw something that looked like a newsroom over here, and you'd wander around to this corner and a couple of office buildings. There was a studio, and up above the studio, it looked to be something like a control room, and I am soaking all of this in. I know I'd been to WBML, and I really enjoyed seeing that, but now I had something to compare it with. And WMAZ was a big station. And so Gary's explaining to me, I'm about to take you into the control room, and you're going to have to be quiet now when the microphone goes on. Have you ever been to a radio station before? And I said, yeah, I went to WBML. They put me on the air. And he said, well, oh, okay, well, that's good. And you're sort of familiar with what one looks like. The console's over there, and there's sort of a chair with what they call a buddy mic. It was another microphone, so if a newsman or a guest were to come on the show, there'd be a microphone for them. And so I sat in the guest chair where I had a commanding view of everything Gary could do. And he had, it was all there. I mean, it was more than I expected because it was a very well-equipped radio station. I just couldn't believe I was there. And not only was I there, but my good fortune to find another teenager who happened to have been in my position a few years prior. And he really seemed kind of sympathetic. He understood. Maybe it was something, a look in my eye, the drool coming out of the side of my mouth. He caught on to the point that this was important to me. And he was respectful of that. Gary happened to work with another talented disc jockey named Joel Goddard, who later became Conan O'Brien's announcer. In fact, I watched the Macy's parade this past year. This is the first year I can remember in a long time that Joel wasn't the announcer on the Macy's parade. I really missed him. But Gary allowed me the opportunity to watch, and eventually I gained his trust enough to where he would let me in a production studio and record some things. He did some liners for my little radio station down the basement. Yes, I still had the radio station in the basement. And it was so much fun to go up there and to learn. And I have this belief, at least after this experience, that the people that first get their hands on you in broadcasting are the most important because they kind of set the pace for the kind of professional that you were going to be. And both Gary and Joel were alike in that they took their craft very seriously. Therefore, so did I. Gary made all the difference. As a matter of fact, he was on my last radio show in 2000, and he recanted the day that I came to the door.
Hi, Bill Elder. This is Gary Gunter, your old radio friend from when you were first starting in Macon broadcasting some 30 years ago. You know, I recall me working on the air on a Saturday morning at WMAZ in the early 70s, and then there was this youngster ringing the buzzer at the front door. Well, when I finally made it to the door, there was this young kid looking to get into the radio station and to learn about broadcasting.
It's true.
And that young kid was you. And the great similarity was that just a few years before, I had been the young kid ringing the buzzer at the front door, and it had been my mentor, Bill Powell, who had greeted me and helped encourage and assist me in my early radio career. So I guess it was fitting that I should return the favor to someone my junior, and that began our visits together on Saturday mornings while I was working on the air. Well, Bill, you've come a long way since then, and I know your many listeners are going to miss you as you channel your career in a slightly different direction now. But remember, there's life after broadcasting.
Soon to come, Gary gets a job in Atlanta, and I get hired.